Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. You've got a story to share, a message to inspire, and a passion ready to ignite. But where do you start? The world is waiting for your voice. With From Idea to Implementation, Start Your Own Podcast, you'll get the roadmap to turn your vision into reality. This isn't just a course, it's your launching pad. Step by step, we'll break down the process from defining your purpose to recording your first episode so you can finally share your voice with confidence. Stop overthinking it and start doing it. Your voice has the power to connect and lead. Are you ready to use it? Join the waitlist today. Your podcast journey starts now. The world is waiting. You can find the link to sign up for the waitlist in the show notes. We'll see you soon. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Ellyn Katherine Shamalov. She is a quantum healer, an enlightenment mentor, a best-selling co-author, and an international speaker. Welcome, Ellyn. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you. How are you?
I am fantastic. I am so excited and happy to have you here and looking forward to jumping in and sharing all about the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, a little bit about your journey, your story, and all of the things, Ellyn. So with that being said, let's jump right in.
Okay.
So through the work you do, there's a common thread that flows through it, and that's spirituality. I would love for you to share with us, what is an enlightenment mentor and what is the work you do as an enlightenment mentor?
So I call myself the Enlightenment Mentor mainly because what I came to in my work is learning that life is all about experience. It's experiencing different growth phases, and it's all about learning lessons in everything that we do. And so you become enlightened as you use the wisdom that you are learning from the experiences that you've gained. And it's not the typical life lesson like, oh, I know not to trust that person anymore or things like that. This is really profound. And when I first came across it, I couldn't find it anywhere online. And I didn't understand where this was channeled by a reverend in Florida. And when I was looking at the information that I've learned, I applied it in my own life to see how this actually works in someone's life. And it was a complete mind-blowing experience because I remember thinking, oh my God, unconditional love is like the seventh lesson. And you don't have to learn everything in a certain fashion. They're all kind of combined together. And so if we look at unconditional love, which is the seventh lesson in the 7 life lessons, I call them the ascension lessons because as you start to learn how to see the patterns in your own life, you can create this like clarity and perspective and be able to be on the trajectory of growth. And so that's ascending as you are growing, you're learning, you're becoming more wise, enlightened. So unconditional love is the central, right? They all say we're out of love, and it's not, love is not an emotion. It's the state of being. When you have things that are like happening in your life, you are unconditionally loving every aspect of you, every aspect of your experience, everything that's going on, because you know that there's a grander purpose for that particular experience.
Now, how long have you been doing this work as an enlightenment mentor and quantum healer? And do the two go hand in hand typically when you do your work?
7 years. And yes, they do. The Quantum Enlightenment System was somewhat downloaded to me. And so that's the reason, that's how I became an enlightenment mentor, because when I first received this download, I had no idea what it was. I really just thought, okay, this is something cool. I got to start working on some friends. And then they helped me to see what was going on with it. And then I did a case study. And throughout the case study, when I realized what it is getting you connected to your higher self with a different perspective, that we're not just here in a body, or we're not just a body. And it allows us to get to a different stage of growth. And that's actually why it goes hand in hand together.
Yeah. And so, what are the most common challenges then that you've seen that people face on their journey to enlightenment? And how do you help them overcome those obstacles?
There's trust, there's the fear that, and it's so unconscious that they don't realize that they're operating on this fear. But there's this fear that and it's because of the trust that they can't trust anyone else, or it's also a lack of responsibility. So a lot of the things that I've noticed, and something that came to me recently, is that even our government system is what, Catholic, Christian, they follow one of those, whatever. It doesn't matter because I don't know, I'm not tuned in. But they all, those particularly, Christians don't believe in reincarnation. They believe that you're in a body, got to live your best life, and then you go to heaven or hell. But if they actually understood, no, there's reincarnation, and because there's reincarnation, that must mean that there's a bigger purpose of me being here. Why would I keep on coming back?
Yeah.
So it changes your perspective, and you start to look at things in a different view. And that in itself makes you understand, wow, the system, like we're operating on such a big program, and people don't want to take responsibility. They want to blame everybody else. They want to say that it's this person's fault and whatever. But really, when you start to understand what growth is all about, it's focusing on you.
Yeah. Let's be honest, there's so many people out there that don't even realize that they've been conditioned or programmed, and they just go on living obliviously. And that's okay. Those people, I don't think, are ready to wake up and see what's going on. And that's their journey. That's their trip. And there are people
Absolutely.
who are waking up and realizing, wait a minute, things are a little fucked up. They shouldn't be this way, or we don't have to do things the way that we've been doing them for this long. It is possible. There are alternatives to the way we've been taught and the way we've been living for so long.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously, we're right now talking about the people who are waking up, who are
Yes.
realizing that there's something more. And so the challenges that I see in them is, honestly, I feel like a lot of people are afraid of the shift, because when I go on these blueprint calls with people, all the information is right there. But what they do with it is sit on it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, you know what, I'm ready to take these challenges and I'm ready to dissolve them and cut the contracts, because I know that there's something bigger. But there's like this fear that if I change and if I transform, what will happen? Who am I?
Yeah. There's another key, right? Is they have to be ready. It's just like anything, working with a coach, working with trying a new job, whatever it is, learning a new skill. If you're not ready for it, it's not going to work out. It's not going to happen. So you have to be ready to receive. And there are a lot of people that are finally starting to wake up. I think in light of what we've experienced over the last 3 years with COVID, people are waking up and realizing, wait a minute, things have been a little fucked up. This isn't right. And I think it's great. I think it's wonderful to see, because really the wheels are coming off the bus around the world. We're seeing it everywhere. And I think it's amazing. And I think it's necessary. It's just, I think we have to be compassionate, sympathetic, empathetic with the people who haven't woken up yet, or that are still in the midst of waking up and realizing it. We just have to be there to help them and guide them.
Yeah, usually that happens. We get frustrated a lot because we're so awake and we're thinking this is normal. Why
Yeah.
are other people like this? What's going on?
Yeah.
So it does take some practice, but you're not going to be able to be compassionate and loving and hold space for other people if you haven't done it for yourself first.
Yeah.
It always comes back to self,
Of
no matter
course.
what. If you are
Everything
not,
starts with self. We are the
exactly,
foundation.
exactly. So that's a challenge that people are facing, that they have to take responsibility. That's a massive responsibility, but it's also a great one, because then you get to see that you are in charge and you've got the power. And you can literally create anything you want just by looking internally.
But once you do that work on yourself, because no one else can do that for you, you then have that next phase where you do have help, you do have support around you, because there are like-minded people. It's just a matter of finding those like-minded people, surrounding yourself with them, and helping to lift and raise the vibration of the consciousness of the planet together as a collective unit.
Yeah, I believe that's like the next phase after
Mm.
they go into the first part of, okay, I'm waking up and there's something here
Yeah.
that needs to heal. And you look at self. And then afterwards, like my friend is to the point where whenever he goes to the gym, he's feeling everybody's energies around him. And he's not getting upset about it. He's just transmuting it. He's given himself the power and the permission to accept all that energy that he's feeling, to transmute it through him,
Hmm.
so that for them it's more healing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
when you're ready to take on that energy, that's the next phase. And then that creates a whole new level of like boundaries and
Hmm.
how you're going to show up in the world and so forth.
For sure. And so, how has your work as an enlightenment mentor influenced your own spiritual growth and understanding of life?
So, what made me initially start going into healing is the constant triggers I was having by my husband. We were fighting like cats and dogs in our first year of marriage. We were already talking about divorce within the first year. And because I knew that I had to save my marriage, I thought, okay, let me try to find help. So he and I were both on this path to emotional healing retreats, and just basically there was some spiritual stuff there that we didn't realize was so spiritual. We just thought it was just part of our growth process. So we were doing a lot of emotional healing stuff. And then later, when we went to Florida for this beautiful retreat that opened my eyes to the life lessons and helped me realize certain things, I was so clear because it was both like a healing retreat and like therapy, kind of in a way. And then we
Hmm.
also took a class because it just so happened to be that they were doing a training on life lessons and relationship dynamics. So we took that class, it extended our trip, and it was so beautiful because it just happened to be the perfect timing for everything. And that in itself made me feel so clear headed. When I was walking outside with my husband, I thought, oh my God, I need to bring this back to New York for other people to experience this. So my focus after that, because I realized when I got the name for it, Higher Vibrations Inc., I realized later on, this is a very high energetic frequency that I'm working with here. And I was trying to manifest it. I said, I'm going to manifest clients. And I did all the sleazy marketing techniques. I learned about automations and all this stuff. And I spent lots of money on all these coaches. And at the same time, all I was doing was trying to manifest clients. And I realized I'm not at that frequency for me to manifest those things. So this
Hmm.
is what I want. I need to figure out how to do it. And so
Yeah.
that's the stage where I was learning how to grow differently. So it was my business, my husband at first, my business second. And now it's just after my husband passed away last year, my transformation completely shifted into something else. And now that's the growth where I'm at of I'm looking to really take this to the next level.
So, how did your spiritual journey begin? Was there a catalyst moment in your life that led you down the spiritual path?
I would say my husband was the catalyst.
Okay.
I was shut down for a long time. And then when I met him, we were both like looking to be in healthy eating kind of realm. And I started looking into holistic stuff. He was into holistic stuff. And it kind of just brought us into spirituality.
Hmm.
We were watching something called Spirit Science on YouTube, where they used to do all these videos about the sacred geometry, intuition, chakras, everything. So
Hmm.
our dates became watching those shows some of the times. And something in me sparked when I watched it, that I was in the shower one day and I started getting a flood of all this information coming through. And I even had to Google it in the middle of my shower because I didn't know what was I receiving? What was this? So when I saw other people in the spiritual world talking about this, I thought, wow, this is something great. I'm getting some information. My intuition is open. Yeah, so I think that he was the catalyst for it. And again, because we were both on this journey of wanting to better ourselves,
Hmm.
that's what brought me into it more deeper.
Okay. Now, what are some of the most profound spiritual breakthroughs you've experienced in your own life and the lives of your clients as well?
So my clients manifest so much quicker. Like I
Hmm.
had a client who told me that she wasn't sure she was ready for this dream that she had. And then during our work together, it all collapsed together so quickly that now she's working on all these things that she's always wanted to do. She was a flight attendant, and she ended up leaving her job, not having anything else backed up, to going to open up the Reiki studio that she wanted and having that tiny retreat home that she wanted, all within the work that we were doing together. I had another client who actually, this one was funny. She is an NLP practitioner. And when we first started working together, she said, I worked on a lot of these things already, so I don't think I'm going to really need all the sessions. And mine is a package. I don't do separate sessions. So I said, let's just see what happens, because I usually do like an initial call first to show you what you're holding in your body. Yeah. And we did the initial call, and she was shocked. She said, wow, I did a lot of this work with her NLP stuff that she thought that she had reframed. And I said, yeah, it's still in your body. And so we did the work together, and she was just telling me how after I think the third session, she had put together this program that she wanted to put out there. Without her even putting it out there, she was getting clients coming into for that, like just out of nowhere. So her business grew. She was feeling very blissful. And in my life, I can say, number one, I'll say the biggest thing is after I lost my husband, I was suicidal. And I thought, what am I going to do here? I can't afford paying this rent and being in this job that doesn't pay me enough, and then pay for my son and everything. So how am I going to survive? My goal was to work on my business and to be able to go out there and finally have that. But then because he passed away, I thought, how am I going to work on my business now? Who's going to support me? How is this going to work? And so I felt like there's no point in being here. If I can't do what I'm meant here to do, I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. But I went with this internal compass that was so strong that there's something here. I need to be here. There was a contract between me and him that this had to happen. So what's the lesson? Yeah. I used my own program to uncover what the lessons were and understand how I needed to work with this. And now I see it as a gift, even though it's sad that he passed away, and I do get emotional about it sometimes, but I do see it as a gift. I see it as this had to happen in order for me to grow to this level. This is what we decided to have as part of our experience. And I can't feel anger towards him for giving my son this abandonment wound. I'm here. I can help guide him. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest breakthroughs, because I feel like a lot of people, they stay in their grief journey for a very long time and they can't seem to get out of it. Yeah. Grief is a tough journey. And we have to be able to stop and look at the situation we're in, because we have to look at the situation from an outsider's point of view. It's hard to look at it when you're in it, but you have to be able to take a step back, look in at it, and find the gift, because no matter how difficult, how heart-wrenching, how heartbreaking that situation is, there's always a gift in there somewhere. You just have to dig around and find it. And you need to do that in order to be able to move forward. It's hard, though. It's not easy. It's not an easy journey. But what made me, the fact that I was able to do it for myself, I meditated. I was such a bad meditator. I used to rely on binaural beats or some guided meditation or something to keep me going. And then I realized that's not real meditation. That everybody feels like that's meditation, and it's not. That's just a distraction. The whole point of meditating is not for tranquility and peace. It is in one sense, but the real point of meditation is to sit with your inner self and be able to transmute all those feelings and emotions that are coming up at that time, for you to be able to go out there and have that inner peace. Right? So that was the big breakthrough for me. And then there was another breakthrough where doing this work, I was manifest very quickly. So I I didn't even realize that I was manifesting. It just happened out of nowhere when I realized that everything that I had, if I have an idea of what I want to do, or if I need to contact someone outside of me, I say, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I end up not doing it, and it just comes to me, or whatever. All those things, like something that I wanted to order somehow landed on my doorstep. So it was just like, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's those types of things that come, and I'm grateful for that, because it's really cool. Yeah, for sure. Now, for those listening who might be unfamiliar with the term, how would you explain quantum healing and its principles? Okay, so everybody knows that light is information, right? And so spirit is light and spirit resides within us. And so within us, we have the spirit that occupies the cells, creates the DNA and all of that. And so in the quantum field, it's like infinite possibilities. It's all the information, it's everything. And so we have that quantum field internally in our bodies, because what happens is, this is the way I understood it. And I'm not saying this is 100% right or wrong, but this is the way I've understood it doing this work. As a spirit, we occupy a physical vessel, right? Mm-hmm. And we don't have 100% of our spirit in our physical vessel. That's the goal, but we don't have it yet. So what happens is, because there's too much space taken up by all the past life stuff. So spirit also has all the information to the Akashic records. And so that's the light. The Akashic records, all of it is the light, right? So that's embodied in the physical vessel at 6 to 10% quotient, light quotient. We are here, in essence, to clear out the physical vessel that's holding all this information, to transmute it, dissolve it, release the contracts, so that we can now embody more of our spirit. Because where we're going is going to change the way our bodies are looking. And so the work now is to really clean that out. And the only way I can explain the quantum world is that everything is here and now. And so we collapse timelines. And when we are focused on in this, let's say, time continuum space that we are in right now, the awareness is here. And because the awareness is here, we're collapsing timelines and bringing all those fragmented parts of our soul back into wholeness here.
Thank you for sharing that. And so
I hope that was clear.
Yeah, no, it's fine. When and how did you realize then that you had the gift of being a healer and your spiritual gifts? And did you struggle internally to understand all of that and realize the gifts you had, or was it fairly easy for you to embrace?
Oh, it was so hard, because it was like, who am I to have this? You know, when I realized how intuitive I was, I can feel the energy. I didn't know that I felt energy until later. But when I first started, it was me being able to tell the future, seeing things in my dreams, kind of having like maybe hearing thoughts, but I didn't know I was hearing thoughts, but I was hearing thoughts and understanding someone's perspective. So I can look into someone's eyes and just understand everything that's going on. And I didn't like doing that. But one day my husband was really in a lot of pain. And I all of a sudden got guided by not a voice of my own. And that was the very strange part, because I always hear my own voice. But this was like a different voice that I could hear guiding me on what to do for my husband. So I started doing like some light work on him, move my hands a certain way, see certain energies. And the next morning I asked him how he's feeling. Oh, the pain went away. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know what the hell I did yesterday. And so I had instances like one time this, and another time I could do readings, and another time something else came up. And I didn't put it together until I started going into the business, until I was really head on in the business. And I would say that one of the other things that helped me realize my gifts was having a soul blueprint reading that I now do for people. But someone did it for me in a different way than I do it now. But I realized what they told me was fucking insane, because I thought to myself, there's no freaking way I can go out there and do this. Like this, they said I was a teacher, I was psychic, and I was supposed to do X, Y, and Z and all the stuff. And I just thought, no, that's crazy. That's really not what my goal was here.
Yeah.
But as you continue going on the journey and you continue to unfold, I had to go to the point where I was accepting what my destiny was, because the soul blueprint says this is what your soul destiny is. And I thought, there's all these transformations and all these things and shifts and growths, and this is where it's leading me down to this path. So I guess I do have to step into this now.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. You have to. It chose you.
Yeah, you did choose it prior to coming here. But the fact that it's coming to you, it's not that it's chosen you, it's waking you up. It's letting you know we're ready to take this on now.
Yeah. And so what daily practices would you recommend for individuals who want to incorporate quantum healing into their lives?
You really need to learn how to meditate without any external factors helping. I think that's because I've had transformations in my life, right? I've done inner child work, blah, 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 all this stuff, but it wasn't as profound as it now is for me when I've learned how to meditate. And I even put a course on this together because I even have some friends who are just blown away by my growth. And I keep telling them, you just have to meditate. And they don't know how. Nobody knows how. I had a client who went on the soul blueprint call with me, the high vibe life blueprint call, and she couldn't keep her eyes closed for more than 5 minutes. She was freaking out. She's, can I open my eyes? Can I open my eyes? Can I open? I'm like, and I already got all the information. I thought, she doesn't meditate. And when she said she does, I thought, that's weird. Oh, but I meditate with this guy. No wonder. It's guided meditations. You're not really sitting with yourself. Here you're sitting with yourself and we're picking things up. It's uncomfortable. People don't like to keep their eyes closed. So how you do quantum healing when you want to heal what's going on inside you is to connect to yourself, is to sit with yourself, to be able to learn how to really sit with it. And you can start. I have such profound meditations. I have journeys like I'm on medicine and I'm not on medicine. But you can do that because you have an intention and you have the focus and really going within yourself.
Yeah. And so how has your work as a healer contributed to your own personal and spiritual growth?
Like I said, the business was one of the second factors that made me really want to grow because I know I have a mission here. And even though I tried to give up on the business, it kept on creeping up. And I felt like all this gnawing pain inside my body that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. Something was missing and it was making me so unhappy.
Yeah.
And that's what got me in the business in the first place, because that's what I felt initially. And so when I go back into it, I know that I have to keep on working on myself if I'm not seeing the results that I want. And as I go through life, no matter if it's business or not, I still see if there's a trigger, if there's something there, that means I have to look internally within me.
Yeah, because everything is within us. Absolutely. So what daily practices or rituals do you follow to maintain and enhance your healing abilities?
The healing abilities, or you mean my sanity for the day?
Your healing abilities.
When I was doing the Quantum Enlightenment System, I was unintentionally going into the Akashic Records because it is part of us, but I didn't realize that I was getting that type of information. And what I decided to do was take a course on it in case I was missing something or just to add to it or to enhance it a little bit more. So I do that. And then meditations is another thing that I do. And right now, I'm really preserving my energy. I've cut out a lot of people in my life who no longer align to where I'm going or who do not reciprocate in the connection. If I don't want to give my energy in that way, that's what I'm doing now. And also watching what I put in my body as well. I'm no longer eating foods that are cravings because I know that's just keeping me at a lower vibration that I would like to be in. So those are the types of things that I do to enhance my healing abilities because I feel like that just makes your vessel stronger.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the Quantum Enlightenment System. Can you tell us about the system? What is it? How do you utilize it to help others? And what inspired its creation?
It's an individualized one-on-one program, 7 weeks, but sometimes it goes longer than 7 weeks because I follow everybody else's guidance on how their body is integrating the work. And so we basically look in what your soul blueprint holds because you come in with a blueprint of basically what your life is going to be like. We look at the limiting belief patterns, the emotions, all of it. And we're basically looking at what is it that your body is holding? What is it that you still have in your field? And then throughout the program, it's a 3-phase program. The first 4 weeks in the first phase is really about dissolving those limiting belief programs, the emotions that are causing you to learn certain life lessons. So that breaks the karmic cycle of why you keep coming back here. And then the second phase is upgrading the vessel. So we're releasing any cravings that your body may have to try to get your body at a higher vibration so that it can hold more of your light. Because if your body has leakages and it's not strong enough to hold the light, it can't hold that capacity. And so we do 2 sessions on that. And then the last session is my favorite. They're actually all my favorite. But the last session is, now that we've got your body in a state of dissolved from the toxins, you're more connected to your higher self, you're embodying more of your light, and your body is now strong enough for this big capacity that you can now receive. The third session is when you and the higher self are uploading new frequencies into your soul blueprint, or activating certain frequencies that are already in the blueprint that need to be activated on a positive note. And that usually takes them into a story of, what their soul destiny is. Sometimes it helps to activate something there so that it can basically bring them into that pathway.
Yeah.
So that's the gist of the quantum enlightenment system.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
My unique skill, I would say that my perception.
Yeah. And speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does success mean to you?
I feel that success has to do with how you feel about yourself. Do you feel that it's not just like the accomplishments of goals outside of you. It's really like, how much have you grown? Are you
Yeah.
continuing to grow? That's what success is to me. If
Okay.
there's a consistency in growth, a change in how you respond to things, that's already saying that you're successful.
Yeah. To date, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
Not being codependent anymore.
That's a big one, for sure.
Yes. And really just walking in my godly power, just knowing that I am the creator.
What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before you learned it? And what was your life like after learning it?
Happiness comes from within. I was not happy for a very long time, was angry for a very long time. I was so angry that I was in denial about being angry.
Yeah.
And when it's insane, because when I was in the marriage, all the anger just exploded. And I didn't understand where it came from, but apparently it's been there for a long time. And my husband was just kind of poking at it. And
Right.
we were on this journey to heal. I realized that no matter what I was doing, none of it was working enough to get me out of this. There are some changes in how I feel, but it's not to the point where I won't be angry anymore. It's not to the point where I'm not living in happiness. And so I feel like what happened to me was when I really started being successful and how I was responding, I felt like I was more happy with myself. I felt like I've created some boundaries. I've created some great connection with my body and my soul, and can actually feel like nothing else can stop me from anything I want to do. It's all within me. And that's what
Yeah.
made me happy.
That's what it is, right? Coming back to that foundation of self and doing the inner work and excavating and looking within, and because no one else can do that for you, no one else can help you with that. You have to do that work yourself, and no one else is going to do it for you. You're the only
Absolutely.
one. We need to learn to stop seeking outer validation from others. And I mean, the relationship that we have with self is the hands down the most important one we'll ever have in our lives. And it's the longest one we'll ever have in our lives, is that one with ourselves. So
Exactly.
you better learn to love yourself.
And really, I think people don't understand what it means to really love themselves. I think they think that if they go to the gym or eat right or whatever, that's loving themselves, or doing their manicures or getting massages.
That's self-care.
Yeah. And that's the problem, that people are not deciphering the differences between what is actual self-love and what is self-care. Like self-care goes hand in hand. If you love yourself, you'll do those things, but it goes deeper. It's a cellular feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
I feel it's like when someone knows that they are in charge, that they have the power within themselves to make the choices that are going to get them to what they're looking for in life.
And we all have that power to choose. We always have a choice, always.
Exactly.
That responsibility is on you.
And that's the thing. Again, going back to reincarnation, you chose to come back and you
Mm-hmm.
chose to come back with certain goals of what you're going to
Mm-hmm.
learn and
Yep.
to have certain experiences that are going to help you to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you wake up, you have a choice of, do I want to continue this or do I want to just shut my eyes? And even when you're actually in the situation, if you didn't wake up, you have a choice to see things at a different perspective or to hide from it because you're afraid of what it's going to actually show you.
Yep, for sure. And that's
Right.
the problem too with doing the self work. People don't want to look inside because they don't like what they see.
But then if you don't like what you see on the outside, the only way you can shift it is by looking in the inside. And it's not to be
Mm-hmm.
ashamed. I want to
No,
just say that there's no shame in someone being a certain way, right?
no.
Because if they're here and they don't want to look inside because they don't like what they see, there's shame there. So
Yeah.
there should not be any shame around it, because really the truth is you came here to have certain experiences so that you can learn certain lessons. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these personality traits that we have, they're not just from this lifetime because of childhood. They're also from past lives and from ancestral and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just from you. And whoever's
Yeah.
hearing, I want them to understand that there's nothing to be ashamed about, because I used to lie, I used to steal, I did whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first had to look at myself to see how I treated people, yes, I cried. I was upset. I was sad about it. And I said, I didn't know any better at that time. And I needed those experiences to tell me where I'm going now. And
Yeah,
so I
for
did
sure.
forgiveness work around that to make sure that I knew that whatever it is I looked at that I didn't like, it was healed because I know now better than what I did before. And now I can make better choices.
Yeah. Shame and forgiveness. Shame is what keeps us stuck. And forgiveness also does too. We need to learn about both of those things. Forgiveness is huge, especially, forgiveness is for yourself. It's for you.
Exactly.
And we need to learn that for sure. Otherwise, again, you're going to stay stuck. You won't be able to move forward if you can't forgive yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. Forgiveness is a huge, and that's why I said, like, the 7 life lessons that I've learned about, forgiveness is one of them. And when I
Mm-hmm.
looked at all of it, I realized, wow, it really does come back to unconditional love. Because when you can forgive someone for any past pains and whatever, you're not forgiving them to get them off the hook. You don't have to talk to that person anymore, but you
No.
can forgive them to truly feel love for that person because that person also didn't know any better. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're now seeing that in that perspective and loving them at a distance, but also forgiving yourself for having that hatred or having that
Mm-hmm.
type of animosity towards the person, because you now see it differently. And because you see it differently, you forgive yourself to that level.
Yeah, you can move through things much lighter because you've removed that weight from your neck,
Exactly.
from your heart, from all of it.
Exactly.
Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3, 4 word answer type thing. Okay. How would you describe yourself in one word?
God.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Quantum Enlightenment System. Legacy.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
Oh, enlightenment.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
My perspective on life.
What is your favorite self-care practice?
Meditation.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. If other people could use 3 words to describe you, what would you want those 3 words to be?
Graceful, wise, and honest.
Beautiful. Who in your life would you say has had the biggest impact on you and why?
Oh, family, my husband. My husband, because of him, I'm on this trajectory of loving myself.
Mm-hmm.
And my family, because they seem to be constantly teaching me more lessons.
Speaking of lessons, what is one lesson that your career has taught you that you think everybody should learn at some point in their life?
Everything is literally within you.
I see a theme here, Ellyn. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Hi, you asked a lot of questions. You were all good.
Thank you. What is your why?
Oh, this gnawing feeling that I know that I have this mission to accomplish, and I have to help humanity wake up. I know that I'm part of a bigger team than I can see. And so it's this inner knowing that there's this mission that we need to fulfill, that I need to fulfill.
What would you say is one of your biggest failures or teachable moments, and what did you learn from it?
Biggest failures? Teachable moments. There's a lot.
What is one of the biggest ones that really stands out for you?
When I was on my business, on the journey for my business in the beginning, I feel like it was a failure. But in hindsight, now that I look back, I realize it was just another lesson for me. I wasn't able to get certain people in my group or my program or whatever. And I just kind of fell off the map for a little bit. And I feel like that wasn't really a failure. And it's hard for me to say that there's real failures because I look at everything as a lesson. So let's keep them as teachable moments. Mainly that I just had to raise my vibration. I had to create some boundaries. And that's right now what I'm doing. I've learned to really love myself enough to create these boundaries where I don't want to just share my energy with just everybody. I'm only sharing it with certain people who I can trust are going to be for my highest good. But other people who are drowning my energy or who I feel are
energy
not giving
vampires, we'll call them.
Yeah. Or who are not giving me like what I'm looking for in an emotional connection, then I cut ties with them.
Yeah.
And so that's all part of holding my energy back. And it's not to be mean. And it's just to say I've created my boundaries to know that this is what I'm looking for in my life. And this is what I will accept. And this is what I will not accept.
Yeah. Self-preservation.
Yes. And my son is another teachable moment.
Kids are always teachable moments.
Yeah, exactly.
They're continuous teachable moments.
Yes. But
if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
I was bullied as a kid, and that made me feel like I was rejected and that people didn't like me. And now I realized that it was just a projection of their own hatred or whatever they were dealing with internally. And so the advice would be not to take any of that personally and to know that this is only they're in their own pain and you just send them love.
Yeah, beautiful. Lastly, Ellyn, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
Learn to take your power back. Learn that you are a God in a physical vessel and that you can create anything you desire as long as you heal everything within yourself.
Ellyn, thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today, for sharing a little bit about your story, your journey, and all of the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you're doing. I appreciate you. I'm grateful to now have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you for being here with me and taking and making the time to share. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here and allowing me to share this information with others.
My pleasure and my honor. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Ellyn Katherine Shamalov. She is a quantum healer, an enlightenment mentor, a best-selling co-author, and an international speaker. Thank you so much, Ellyn. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you, too.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.